Hello everyone. Welcome back to our channel, Canada Immigration. We hope you're doing great. In this video, we're going to talk about Canada's flatlining population growth reflects tightened immigration policies. Canada is experiencing significant shifts in its population and immigration landscape. From slowing population growth to a sharp decline in Indian international students, and changes in IRCC processing times, the country's policies and programs are under scrutiny. If you are interested in this topic, please pay attention and watch the video through to the end to get all the information. Please hit like and subscribe, and don't forget to push the notification bell for an upcoming video. Immigration cuts are showing in the latest quarterly population estimates published by Statistics Canada. Between April 1, 2025 and July 1, 2025, Canada's population increased by an estimated 47,098, or 0.1%. This marks the weakest population growth rate in the second quarter of the year since 2020, when growth almost stopped due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Starting in 2024, the federal government implemented a suite of policy changes designed to curb the growth in Canada's population driven by immigration, including a cap on study permit applications, tightened eligibility for many work permits, a 20% cut in landings targets for permanent residents, and the first ever targets for temporary resident admissions. This year, we've begun to see the impact of those changes. Look at the population growth in Q2 over the past 4 years. Immigration accounted for 71.5% of the growth in population in the second quarter of 2025, down from 95.3% in the same quarter of 2024. Drop in the number of non-permanent residents in Canada. According to Statistics Canada, most of this population growth in Q2 of 2025 comes from permanent residents. The number of non-permanent residents in Canada dropped for a third quarter in a row, mainly due to measures introduced aimed at reducing the number of temporary residents in the country to 5% of the overall population. The number of non-permanent residents in Canada by July 1, 2025, dropped to 3,024,216 or 7.3% of the total population, down from 7.6% as of October 1, 2024. In the second quarter of 2025, the number of non-permanent residents decreased as follows. Some measures introduced by the government to reduce the number of temporary residents in the country since 2024 include: cap on study permit applications, a pause on the issuance of low-wage labor market impact assessments in census metropolitan areas with an unemployment rate that is 6% or higher, restricted eligibility for spousal open work permits, and changes in post-graduation work permit eligibility. Temporary resident levels in 2025 and beyond. In the latest Immigration Levels Plan 2025 to 2027, the federal government targeted a negative population growth, with the objective of reducing pressure on housing and social services. The latest plan was also the first to include targets for admissions of temporary residents: 673,650 for 2025, 516,600 for 2026, and 543,600 for 2027. These figures take into account new work and study permits expected to be issued over each year of the plan. The federal government aims to reduce the temporary resident levels to 5% of Canada's total population by the end of 2026. As per latest data released by Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada, measures introduced by the federal government have seen a decline in the number of temporary resident arrivals in 2025, as compared to a similar period in 2024. In July 2025, new worker arrivals were down 37% and new student arrivals were down 55% compared to July 2024. In total, there were 98,070 fewer new student arrivals and 137,000 fewer new worker arrivals between January and July 2025 as compared to the same period in 2024. Indian international students in Canada. Sharp plunge in Indian international students in Canada in 2025. Canada's international student landscape is experiencing a dramatic shift, with Indian student enrollment plummeting after a decade of rapid growth. From 2015 to 2023, Indian study permit holders surged from 31,920 to 278,005, contributing around $22 billion annually and strengthening labor pipelines in healthcare, technology, and service sectors. COVID-19 caused a temporary dip in 2020, but numbers rebounded sharply, making Indian students Canada's largest international cohort by 2023. However, 2024 marked a reversal, and 2025 projections indicate only 90,454 permits, a 52% decline from 2024, driven by stricter immigration rules, rising tuition and living costs, and global competition. This downturn threatens post-secondary revenues, provincial economies, and labor supply via the post-graduation work permit program. Amid the decline, Canada is diversifying its international student base, with growing numbers from Nigeria, the Philippines, and Vietnam, and trends toward hybrid learning, AI-focused courses, and micro-credentials. Policy innovation and strategic adaptation are essential to maintain Canada's global education leadership. Latest IRCC processing times as of September 2025, major changes. Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada has updated processing timelines across citizenship, permanent residency, family sponsorships, temporary visas, and passport services. Timelines are based on 80% of finalized applications and may vary due to incomplete submissions, high demand, or additional checks. Citizenship, processing averages 11 months for grants, 5 months for certificates, 10 months for renunciations, and 13 months for record searches. Permanent resident, PR, cards. First-time PR cards take 46 days, renewals 33 days, faster processing relies on complete documentation. Family sponsorship, spouse/partner sponsorship outside Canada averages 15 months, inside Canada 23 months. Parent/grandparent sponsorships range 26 to 44 months, longer in Quebec due to provincial coordination. Passports, in-person 10 business days, mail 20, urgent next day, express 2 to 9 days. PR applications and temporary visas, economic streams vary from 5 to 61 months. Visitor visas depend on country-specific workloads, with nearly 959,000 cases pending. IRCC now uses predictive, data-driven models for timelines. Canada's Temporary Foreign Worker Program. 3 problems with the Temporary Foreign Worker Program and 3 possible fixes, according to experts. Canada's Temporary Foreign Worker Program is under renewed scrutiny amid rising youth unemployment, which hit 14.5% over the summer. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre has called for its elimination, though some economists caution against directly blaming the program. The TFW program, designed to fill labor shortages when Canadians or permanent residents are unavailable, approved 238,157 positions in 2024, more than double 2018 levels. Key concerns include wage suppression and limited innovation, as employers may rely on low-wage foreign labor instead of raising salaries or investing in productivity. Power imbalances and exploitation, since workers' permits tie them to single employers, creating vulnerability, and program instability, with repeated cycles of tightening and loosening hindering long-term planning. This video highlights the evolving nature of Canada's immigration system. Understanding population trends, student flows, processing updates, and workforce programs is essential for policymakers, employers, and prospective immigrants navigating the changing landscape.